and welcome to Tools to Create a Better Life with myself, Glenyce Hughes. Thank you so much for being here. I am so incredibly grateful for each and every one of you. Now, I know that probably more people listen to this than watch it. However, if you're watching it, you see this beautiful love pillow beside me. It's from the same store that I bought this shirt, and I love it. It's Anthropology is the name of the store. It's a US-based store, but they do have one here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I'm sure they have them around the world too. I love it all. And I just received this pillow yesterday. So grateful for it. So grateful for it. Anyway, not what we came to talk about today, but I had to just because it's here and it matches. And these are kind of like my brand colors. And so anyway, so is my makeup. But anyway, back to the show. DJCCPSERRJs. Now, if you've taken classes with me, you know what I'm talking about. But if you don't, I'm going to explain it. So, decisions, judgments, conclusions, computations. DJCC, so it's an acronym. PSERR, P, projection, rejection, separation, expectation, and then RJ is something called refined judgments. So, those are all of the energies that we are often creating our life from, rather than awareness. I know. This is where we use that hashtag cute, not bright. Because if we would be willing to actually create our life from awareness, that's a whole different ball game than operating from the DJCCs, PSERRs, and RJs. Now, of course, if you've noticed, PSERR doesn't really spell it, but it's close enough. Pardon me. And I love the name of PSERR. It just makes me laugh every time I say it. So, DJCC, PSERR, and RJ. Now, I have other radio shows about them kind of differently and specifically and all of that. So we'll link to those in the show notes. You can either find those show notes on my webpage, or you can, if you're in my email list, you receive the PDF every Sunday, which has everything that I talk about in the show, all the clearings, all the resources, everything. How does it get any more magical? But basically, for the sake of this show, it's all of the conclusions, the solid decision, judgment, all that energy that we're often creating our life from. So if we look at, let's say use money as an example, because that's something that a lot of people are looking to have more of. Usually what we do is we look at our life and we decide what's possible. We expect the certain amount of money to come in. We project we'll get paid so much. All of those energies will judge it, like all of that, the DJCCs, PSERRs, and RJs. And then that's what we create, which is so ridiculous once you start getting the energy of it. And I don't mean I don't still do it, because believe me, I do. But luckily I've got the tool, which I'll share in a moment. But, once we start recognizing that everything we're deciding, we're judging, we're concluding, we're computing, we're projecting, we're rejecting, expecting, separating, and refined judgmenting is what we're actually creating in our life. That's what's actually showing up. Then it's time to stop that insanity. So the tool that I'm going to share with this, and there's going to be a few more, all of the DJCCs, PSERRs, and RJs that I have about this. So let's say you're looking at your money stuff. All of the DJCCs, PSERRs, and RJs that I have about money, I destroy and uncreate them all. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. All day long, my sweet friends. And I know that that can sound really extreme or really intense or maybe even ridiculous, but your mind is going all the time anyway, so why not give it something that when you're doing it, it's actually creating the future you desire? That's how I see it. I know it can sound exhausting, like, oh my gosh, Glenyce, if I said that all day long, like I wouldn't get anything done. Except you would, and it'd be so much more fun, and it would be so much more spacious, because the way, and I've probably shared this many, many times, but if you're new here, or maybe you need a reminder, I see our mind like a 2-year-old that's playing with knives. Okay, you can't go up to a 2-year-old and just yank away the thing they're playing with. I mean, you can, but it's not going to create anything fun for you. However, if you're smart and you exchange it, you take the knives away and you hand it a different toy, ease, joy, and glory, baby. So your mind is no different. If you're just going to rip away the judgment that you're spinning in or the upset that you're spinning in, it's just going to scream and basically bring it back. So replace it with something. And this is super simple. All the DJCCs, pissers, and RJs that I have about this, whatever's going on in that mind, in that moment, I destroy and uncreate it all. All the crazy stuff Glenyce says, all that crazy stuff from Access Consciousness, which is where this is from, which I didn't mention. So if you're new here, all these tools that I'm talking about are from Access Consciousness right now. And you can go to accessconsciousness.com, and then that wording that I said, destroy and uncreate it, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POD, POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds, that's the clearing statement. And you can go to theclearingstatement.com for more about how it works. So the more that you do that, the more that you choose to clear all of those energies, the more awareness you will have. So then suddenly, possibilities start to show up. You didn't realize it before because you weren't aware of them, but now that you're clearing more and more and more of those solid energies, the possibilities can show up. You'll be aware of them. Suddenly, somebody will ask you to come and work for them, or there'll be, I don't know, a stock to invest in that feels super yummy to you or something. You'll start being aware of the possibilities. So no more is it just the projection and the expectation of this is the only way money can come. It's like, how many more ways can money show up today as if by magic? And one of the things that's also going on in my, in replacing crazy with my 2-year-old is universe. How many ways can you surprise and delight me with money showing up today? You can ask money, wealth, cash. You can ask all three, you can ask just one, it doesn't matter. But you're basically just asking, putting more of your energy into asking for what you would like, rather than those conclusions, those decisions, those judgments. Whew. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POD, POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Now, the one that I do want to talk about a little bit more specifically here, and again, the other ones will be listed in the show notes about the specific, these words, is projections. Because we don't really, I shouldn't say we, I haven't in the past really acknowledged the amount of projections that are going on in the world onto us. And what happens if we don't acknowledge them, if we don't recognize that they're projections, then we'll choose it, even if we don't really desire to choose it. So the one projection that I was very aware of growing up was that women were to have babies. Okay, and I don't mean everybody on the planet thought that or said that, but there was a lot of those projections. Every woman on the planet wants babies and should have babies. And even some of the wording that I heard was, that's what our bodies are designed for. Women's bodies are designed to have babies. So the projection was very strong for me to have babies. Now, I met a gal when I was 18, and she was an acronym that I'd never heard prior to that, and don't even really hear that much anymore, but it's Child Free by Choice, so CFBC. Wow. Anyway, and I met her, and I knew I didn't want to have babies, but until I met her, I actually didn't know it was a choice. So the projections, the amount of projections, spoken and unspoken, onto me were huge. Thankfully, I met her when I was 18, and I mean, it sounds funny, but I actually realized it was a choice. I didn't have to have babies. She showed me another possibility. And then, you know, I spent many more years really being aware of the projections, but not going to do anything about it. People wanted me to have babies. It didn't matter to me. Now, I didn't have that, I'm not sure what that word, I was going to say confidence. I'm not sure that's the word, but that sort of tenacity in other areas. So there has been other areas where I've chose things based on the projection, but I often didn't recognize it until after. So this is something that you really want to start paying attention to if you know that projections are something that you struggle with, or that you have a hard time even being aware of what you would like. Because that's a big part too, is that we can actually just be acting out projections because we're not clear on what we would like. So with me not wanting to have babies, that was very clear. And then that gal just showed me it was possible to actually choose it. And it was clear, and I didn't waver ever. Not once did I ever waver about that choice. And then other choices, like I say, that I didn't have that clarity. So I chose something that it either wasn't fun for me or it didn't work out the way I would have liked it to. And looking at it now, I can be like, yeah, that was projected onto me to choose that. And so with those, if you know that, the question you want to start asking yourself is, if I was choosing for me here, what would I choose? Now, let me quickly say, you don't always choose that. Okay, that's you. What that question invites you to is to start getting a sense of what is actually true for you. What would you like? We're not in this whole kingdom of me, though. So there's a kingdom of I, there's a kingdom of them, and then there's a kingdom of we. Kingdom of I is something that we're not very good at. If you're here, if you're listening to this, you're not very good at kingdom of I. We're really, really good guys at kingdom of them. For the most part, we're really aware of what other people would like, what works for them, what they're asking for, what would make them happy. Kingdom of we includes both, meaning that we're still aware of everyone around us and we include ourselves in that. So that's where we want to be. By asking, if I was choosing for me here, what would I choose? That starts to include you. But like I said, it doesn't mean you're always going to choose that way. Because let's say you're going out for dinner with a friend and they say, hey, I would really like to go to McDonald's. And you just check in with yourself. Hey, if I was choosing for me here, what would I choose? And you get that you would choose Burger King. It doesn't mean you go, no, I'm going to Burger King, you better come with me. Probably that won't make a really great friendship. You just want to ask. Truth. If I choose to go to McDonald's with my friend, will it create the future I desire or decay the future I desire? And then follow that. So let's say you get that it'll create to go with them. Cool. Kingdom of we, baby. You've included you. You've looked at what you would like, and then you looked at the whole picture. Now, let's say you actually get it would create greater to go to Burger King. This is where you can have that conversation with your friend. You can be like, hey, you know what? I've really been craving Burger King. Would you consider going to Burger King instead of McDonald's today? See what they say. Maybe they say, no, I'm really craving McDonald's. So maybe you say, hey, why don't we go through the drive-thru? McDonald's drive-thru, Burger King drive-thru, and bring it to our house and we can each have what we would like. Now, I'm using a very, very simple example, but it gives you that idea that there's always another way. Just start including you. What that question does then is starts to allow you to be aware of those projections and gives you another choice. Whew. Wow, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, ped, puck, shorts, boys, beyond. So I get that some of you right now are starting to become aware of the projections you've been operating from. And it's cool, guys, celebrate it. I know a lot of times we go into the judgment of, oh my gosh, they shouldn't project on me. They need to stop it. They're horrible. They're awful. No, they're doing what they do and we allowed it. That's it. That's all. No story. Now, what would we like to choose? Now, with that said, you also want to start looking at where are you projecting? I know you don't want to admit that you do it, but I promise you, you do. We've learned from the best and we do it. We project on ourselves. We project on other people. So start really also being aware of that. Of like, let's say you've got a kid and you're thinking to yourself about when they get home from school, they need to get their homework done, because if they don't get their homework done, then they're going to be up late, and then they're going to be tired tomorrow, and then they won't get their A that they want, or whatever it is. Do people even get A's anymore? I don't know. I never got A's when I was in school. We had percentages more so, but still, whatever an A would be, I never got it. So anyway, squirrel. So really start watching that, because one, look at all those projections. One, they have to do their homework when they get home. That's not even a question. That's not even, depending on the situation, it's probably not even your business. It's their business. And then projecting they'll have to stay up late, projecting they'll be tired tomorrow, projecting they won't get the mark they would like. All of that is like delivering that as an email, an energetic mail to them. And if they're like you, they'll probably receive the email and then act it out. And I can remember years ago when hubby worked, he still works, but it's very different now because he works taking care of me. So he's, often around. And anyway, when he worked outside the home and he would be coming home, I would be projecting like, oh my gosh, he probably had a bad day. He's going to come home cranky, blah, 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 blah. And guess what? 98% of the time I was right. Was I aware? I was aware too, but it was more of the projection. So as he's driving home, he's getting all of this energetic mail. Be grumpy, have a bad day at work, all that stuff. So again, those are things your mind is doing. That 2-year-old is playing with knives when you're projecting. How do you stop projecting? Give it something else to do. So you could do the clearing, all the DJCCs, pissers, and RJs I have about this. I destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, online, puck, shorts, boys, mounds. You could do that. You could also give it something else. So in Access, we have a mantra that is, I just love it. I use it all the time. And it's all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. So you can be giving that to your 2-year-old. And that is where your creative energy can be going into, creating a life that is all ease and joy and glory. How does it get any better than that? Like, there's so much more that's possible when we're actually present with what we're choosing. And a lot of that stuff we're doing, a lot of the decisions, judgments, conclusions, computations, projections, rejections, expectations, separations, refined judgments, are when we're not present. Or when we're just going along, blah, 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 in our mind. We're making up stories, we're creating inventions, we're fighting with people, we're finishing conversations, we should have said this, all that. Get present and use something else. Give that 2-year-old something else to play with that's actually going to create the future you desire. Yes. So I would like to invite you, we are going to do a book club of the book Projections, Expectations, Separations, Rejections. Now, I know I said a whole bunch of other words, but these are this is the title of the book by Gary Douglas from Access Consciousness, of course. And it is an amazing book. And I am ready to take a deep dive into changing this for myself, because I've changed it a lot over the years. I've been playing with these tools and that clearing specifically since 2011. So that's been 10 years. Oh my goodness. Almost 11 years. No, 10 years. I don't know. A lot of years. 9, 10 years. Math was one of those I did not get an A in. And so there's still so much more. There's still so much more to be aware of. So you'll find the information to that book club coming up here. It's starting in March. So you'll find the link somewhere above or below. And if you've got any questions, let me know. I would love to have you come play with us. We did a book club about the living beyond distractions earlier this year. No, later last year in 2021. And it changed everything. Oh my gosh, what these books do, and doing them together with a group is so magical. So anyway, okay, so back to some tools. So if you recognize you're in it, of course, the clearing I've ran a few times. The other thing that you could really be using in just your everyday life is The tool of interesting point of view, and I know I talk about this one a lot because it's worthy of being talked about all the time. It really is just so simple. When you recognize either you're acting out a projection or you're expecting something from someone or you're judging, any of that. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Whew. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. You just need to repeat it a few times, maybe 3 times, 5 times, 10 times, depending on what you're doing it with. The other way to use that tool, guys, you don't have to do it on anything. Let's say you're just driving to work and normally you zone out and you create inventions and problems and you do all the crazy. You give your 2-year-old a bunch of knives to play with. Just repeat that over and over as you're driving. So it doesn't have to be on anything in particular. You can just repeat it over and over and over, and it'll create so much space for you. Because even as you're driving, even though you're not necessarily specifically thinking about it, you might see a driver that's maybe driving faster than you think they should. So there's a judgment that comes up there, but it's so fleeting that you don't even really notice it. Or you start, thinking about yesterday and something that went on, and you start expecting that your kid will have the dishes done or those sorts of things. By just being that and repeating it over and over, oh, it's so magical. I also like to use it when I can't sleep at night, because a lot of times if I can't sleep and my body isn't saying to get up, because that's who I first consult, because it's my body who's sleeping, not me. So if body says no, she's not ready to get up, then I know I'm playing with something in my head. I'm making up stories, I'm inventing stuff. So interesting point of view, I have this point of view over and over, puts me right back to sleep because I got nothing else to play with. Ha! Yeah. Very, 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 very magical that is. And then the last tool, never the last tool, but the last tool I'm going to talk about with regards to this is to really stay as present as you can throughout your day. And don't look at it as I have to stay present all day, because that's a really big ask. What if you just choose to be present for the next 10 seconds? And then what if you choose to be present for the next 10 seconds? And it can be so simple. It can be the ask of, how much more present could I be right now? Just that. How much more present could I be right now? Yeah, you'll often hear me talk about the reminder app on my phone because I use it for everything. Certain bills like the plates on our vehicles are due every June. So I have, it pops up on, I think in May 15th probably, to start getting that stuff together to renew them. So that, but I also will post these things. I'll get it to be popping up. Like, how much more present can I be right now? Or all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. Because it's a really great way to remind yourself to choose something else. Again, we've spent many, many years putting all of our creative energy into crap, basically. It's a retraining to actually choose something different, to actually choose something that is going to create what we're asking for and what we would like more of. So, thank you so much for being here, guys. And if anybody's interested, we've got online foundation coming up in February 19th to 23rd. And then, of course, there will be more coming up. And pool party, bars and foundation are set. The dates are set for July. Check it out. Links are somewhere, guys. If you can't find them, let me know. Have a fabulous week, sweet friends, and I look forward to chatting again next week.